budget and the PowerPoint? Yeah, both? That's the PowerPoint. The budget's, the budget, you could grab the budget, is over there as well, yeah. Yeah, general and highway and special districts. Okay, all right, thanks, Mary. Yeah, and I'll make this announcement when we're live, when we're filming.
I thought you were starting, so we're...
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, good, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the budget is going to be available, the 2020 budget, I was just told by the comptroller, will be available tomorrow online as well. So if you'd like to go to the town's website, you'll be able to view the budget that we're going over tonight. Tentative. The tentative budget, tentative. So, thanks again, everyone, for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you all at home for watching this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we came out this evening for the public portion of the meeting, we met at 6 p.m. in executive session. Mike Martin, the Deputy Highway Superintendent, we met with him regarding a personnel matter. And the second item was an interview prospective vendors for the master plan and code revisions. These were the third consulting firm that we've interviewed. Last weekend we interviewed one, and the weekend before that. So this was the third firm that we interviewed that potentially was going to assist us in our master plan and code revisions that you're all aware of. So the board now is going to decide out of those three firms which one they're going to retain for the comprehensive.
Keep talking, back up.
Oh, I hit it?
I didn't
Really?
want- I didn't
Oh,
want to go.
okay, good.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
On TV, I didn't want to go like this.
Did I hit it?
Candy good.
Oh, wait, oh.
We are reset.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Thanks, Laura. Thank you, Sergeant. All right. It works. Okay, so tonight is I'm presenting my tentative 2020 town budget, which includes the general and highway budgets and also the special district budgets. For the record, all town board members are present with us this evening, as is our town clerk, Ann Spofford, all the way down to my right, Greg Fulchetti, all the way down to my left. Mary Ann Maxwell, the town comptroller, is here. She's going to be presenting the budget with the PowerPoint that she put together. Jimmy Gilchrist is here as well. So this is an important meeting for the public, first hearing of what the tentative budget numbers look like for next year. And as you're all aware, this now goes on to the town board to discuss for the next month and a half or so. We'll have a public hearing in November, and we'll finalize the budget by November 20th. Under the law, we have to finalize it by then. So we have some time. This is just my budget that I developed that I'm required by law to submit first, which is the tentative budget. So without further ado, yes, sir.
Wanted to open the meeting and do the pledge of allegiance.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry.
That's what you were saying without further ado. We're
Yeah,
gonna open the meeting.
we need to have the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I'm sorry. Thank you, Jonathan. Would everybody please rise? And Councilman Borelli, would you lead us tonight?
Pledge allegiance. Take a moment to just remember all our fighting armed forces around the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to ask the town clerk, Ann Spofford, to pass out the tentative 2020 budget to the town board members. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to start this off by me reading the supervisor's fiscal year 2020 tentative budget message. This is budget message that I developed, so if you bear with me, I'll try to go through it as fast as I can. It's about a page and a half. And then we're going to go on to the PowerPoint presentation by the town controller. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the town board, residents, and property owners of the town of Carmel. One of the most important duties of the town supervisor is to initiate and coordinate the annual budget process, and tonight I am presenting the tentative fiscal year 2020 budget to the town clerk, town board members, and to the public. First, a note about the process. The tentative budget is based on months of preparation and collaboration between myself, the town controller, Mary Ann Maxwell, the managers of the various town departments, as well as other elected officials. I wish to thank everyone for the care and consideration that they took in the preparation of the budget requests. The town controller and I worked for many days and hours examining every single line in the budget. Expenses and revenues were reviewed and carefully considered while formulating the tentative budget. In 2011, New York State established a property tax limit for all government municipalities known as the 2% tax cap. By the way, that tax cap is now a permanent tax cap in New York State. The tax cap law sets a limit on the annual growth of property taxes levied by local governments to 2% or the rate of inflation, whichever is less. In 2020, the rate of inflation increased to 2.07%. The town's fiscal year 2020 tax levy increase cannot exceed 2%. I am pleased to report to you this evening that my tentative fiscal year 2020 budget achieves this mandate and will stay under the New York State imposed tax cap. The tentative fiscal year 2020 budget is still subject to review and amendments made by the Carmel Town Board. Changes to the tentative budget may be made by the town board, and the preliminary budget will be adopted by October 16th. So October 16th, we have to adopt the preliminary budget. A public hearing will then be held on November 6th this year, and a final townwide fiscal year 2020 budget must be voted on and adopted by the town board on or before November 20th of 2019. Total townwide tax increase for 2020. The 2020 fiscal year tentative budget reflects a 0.80% increase in the townwide tax rate. Let me say that again, a 0.80% increase. So it's a slight increase in the townwide tax rate, and that's included in the tentative budget is for funding for the following initiatives. Funding for professional consulting firms to assist the town in providing professional and technical guidance as the town moves forward in developing a new master plan, along with reviewing and revising the town code of the town of Carmel. $75,000 was allocated in the budget for the installation of bathrooms at Baldwin Meadows Park. $75,000 for new natural gas standby generator for Carmel Town Hall. We currently have a very old diesel gas generator here at Town Hall, and we have access to natural gas right on Croton Falls Road, so it makes sense to convert from diesel to natural gas. $50,000 for building special improvements line for future windows replacements at Carmel Town Hall. I had a discussion earlier with Councilman Schneider, and he had recommended that the $50,000 be allocated towards more efficient bulbs for the town hall. Councilman Schneider, is that correct? It's the LED bulbs?
Yes, just based on the NYSERDA audit that we had performed for the town hall, they said that the best ROI, return on the investment, would be in LED bulbs, followed by our HVAC system, followed by the outlay for the windows. When we discussed putting this money away, it would take about 6 years in order to just fund the
windows.
project, and we could already start recouping a lot of the money on energy costs through the lights by that time. So if you were to utilize the exact same budget and just switch it out for that energy initiative, we would start to see our ROI a lot quicker.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So we're going to substitute the windows for the
And basically a neutral
LED
effect on your
lights.
proposed
Right,
budget.
Right, be
Thank
neutral. Yeah, you're welcome. $15,000 for concrete replacement for the south entrance of the Carmel Town Hall. We did the north entrance in this funding from this year's budget, so the south entrance needs to be done as well, so I allocated $15,000 in the budget for new concrete on that side. On the south side, $120,000 is allocated in the budget for Swan Cove Park and municipal parking lot improvements. You know, obviously, $120,000 isn't going to complete the build-out of the Swan Cove Park and the municipal parking lot, but I felt that there was, it would be appropriate to include some funding in there for amenities at either the Swan Cove Park or the municipal parking lot. So there is funding in that for that. Our town controller, Mary Ann Maxwell, will now present to you the fiscal year 2020 Town of Carmel Supervisor's tentative budget. This presentation will provide you an in-depth review of the town's finances, identifying projected expenditures and revenues for fiscal year 2020. It's important to note, and I know Mary Ann may cover this in her PowerPoint, for a property that is assessed in the town of Carmel at $347,000, the increase, your property taxes would be $1,752. It's an increase of about $14 a year over 2019.
That's just your town part.
That would be
Not
the
your
town
school,
part.
Not your county. That's
Right.
just town.
That would be your town tax increase. And Councilman Lupinacci's correct. It's not tied to school or county, just town, about a $14 increase over 2019. So, in closing, my sincere thanks to Town Controller Mary Ann Maxwell, my office staff, Ann Pasquarella and Joanne Torelli, along with the Town Controller's staff and other elected officials, department heads and managers for their diligence and assistance during the preparation of my tentative 2020 budget. Respectfully submitted, the second day of October, Ken Schmidt, Supervisor, Town of Carmel. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell for her PowerPoint presentation. Thank you, everyone. Okay, Mary Ann.
Good evening. This is the Town of Carmel 2020.
Can everybody hear Mary Ann?
No.
Can you turn the video up in the studio? Can you turn the video up for the mics for Mary Ann? For the meeting room? Thank you. Go ahead, try that, Mary Ann.
Okay, Town of Carmel 2020 tentative budget. As Supervisor Schmidt mentioned earlier, in 2011, the New York State Office of State Comptroller established a 2% real property tax cap law. With some exceptions, this law limits the amount local governments and school districts can increase property taxes by the lesser of 2% or the rate of inflation. The allowable tax levy growth imposed by New York State Office of the Comptroller for the 2020 budget is 2%, which is a lesser of 2.07%, which is the current rate of inflation. For the town of Carmel, townwide and special districts, this equates to a maximum allowable tax levy increase of $986,000. So that is the amount that we would be able to raise the levy with townwide and special districts to stay within the tax cap. This is just a history for when the 2% property tax cap became in effect. So in 2012, it was a 2% property tax cap. It did drop as low as 0.68% in 2017 and back up to 1.84 and then 2% the last 2 years. Due to a retired capital debt in 2015 in the Carmel, one of our sewer districts, the town of Carmel still has an available carryover from 2019 to 2020 of $26,788. Therefore, the maximum allowable 2020 tax levy increase townwide and special districts is $1,013,000. So you take the maximum allowable levy plus the available carryover to come up with that $1 million. So that's the available tax levy that we're able to increase from 2019 to 2020. The 2020 tentative budget, the overall tax levy increase is $968,278. So you get that by subtracting the maximum allowable less the $968, which is in the tentative budget. So we are under the tax cap by $44,876. So due to good financial planning and available carryover, the town of Carmel is able to stay under the tax cap for the 2020 tentative budget. The property tax levy is calculated by taking the town's total annual expenditures less any revenues and/or appropriated fund balance. The annual tax rate is determined by dividing the total amount of the property tax levy by the total assessed value of a town or special district. The townwide 100% equalized assessed value used in the 2020 tentative budget is $4.8 billion, an increase of approximately $77.46 million from the prior year equalized assessed value. An increase in assessed value would result in a decrease in the tax rate if the levy were to remain the same. So in the 2020 tentative budget, general and highway, the townwide tentative budget, the expenditures is $30.6 million, less the revenues of just under $6 million, $5.9 million, and you subtract fund balance reserves of $285,000 to come up with a property tax levy of $24.39 million. So you take the $24.39 million, divide that by the assessed value to come up with a 2020 tax rate of 5.05. So the 2020 annual tax rate increase, as Supervisor Schmidt mentioned earlier, is 0.8%. This is just a history of the tax rate annual increase from 2011 to 2020. Back in 2012, 13, and 14, 12, 13, and 14, the tax rate increase was up, 8.8%, 7.9%. So since 2015, and again, in those years, 2012, 13, and 14, we did have to override the tax cap. So those were difficult years. 2015 and forward, we were able to stay within the tax cap. Had a 0% tax increase in 2018, 1.6% last year, and 0.8% is in the tentative budget in 2020. As Supervisor Schmidt mentioned earlier, the average homeowner assessed at $347,000 would pay approximately $1,752 per year in their town-wide tax rate. This is an increase of $14 from the prior year. This assessed valuation reflects the current equalization rate of 100%. $1,985,000 is budgeted in the 2020 budget for town-wide debt obligations. Of the $30.6 million in town-wide expenditures, approximately $21.6 million is budgeted in 2020 for employee compensation and benefit costs. This represents a percentage of approximately 70% of total expenditures. So that's employee salaries and benefits represent 70% of the budget in the town-wide budget. This is just a pie chart for the general and highway expenditures showing 70% of employee expenses, and the other 29.6% is other expenses. This is a pie chart, a chart that shows the townwide fund equity from 2009 to 2018. Again, the difficult years were 2011, 12, 13, but we were able to increase that fund balance over the past couple of years. 2018, the fund balance was about 10.7 million in townwide, general and highway. Budget highlights, budget drivers and highlights. Employee benefit costs is a big budget driver. Health insurance costs continue to increase. However, since more employees are taking advantage of the health insurance buyout, we are able to lower some of the benefit lines in the 2020 budget. Pension contributions decreased slightly. Tier 4 in the ERS is 15.7% of their salary. Tier 2 in the police and fire retirement system is 24.3% of the salary. Since many new employees and officers are Tier 5 and 6, we are able to reduce many of the retirement lines because the town's contribution percentage is less for those tiers. So I did take a look at, especially in the police budget, I did take a look at the retirement expense over the years, and we are able to lower the retirement line and the health insurance line in the police budget. Workers' comp expense is estimated to remain flat compared to the 2019 actual. Salary expenses for union employees increased 2% due to union contract agreements. Police overtime expenses is remaining the same at $620,000 in the tentative budget. Mortgage tax revenue, year-to-date 2019, actual revenue is approximately $580,000 through August of 2019, with a budget of $950,000. $950,000 is also budgeted in the 2020 budget, so I left that the same for now. Revenues increased approximately 4.4% from the prior year. Employee health insurance contributions increased that $5,000 due to health insurance, due to union contracts. Interest earnings increased approximately $70,000 in the 2020 budget. Building department fees, which consists of building permit fees, COs, title search fees, that's increased about $90,000 in the 2020 budget. Cable franchise fees is budgeted at $795,000. Park and Recs fees at $285,000. CHIPS highway funding, state aid, we're estimated to receive $585,000 in the 2020 budget. Police Lake Patrol, state aid estimated at $20,000. The contingent line is budgeted at $180,000, partially to fund the master plan and the town code provisions. Capital equipment and projects budgeted from the reserve fund balances and other. Swan Cove, as Supervisor Schmidt mentioned, Swan Cove improvements, we budgeted $120,000. $100,000 of that is coming from the capital reserve. New generator at Town Hall, $75,000 is coming from the capital reserve. Bathroom facility at Boulder Meadows, also $75,000 from the capital reserve. One unmarked police vehicle from the equipment reserve at $35,000, and we're establishing a capital improvement line for new windows or the LED lights at Town Hall, $50,000. There's new debt service in the 2020 budget for the land acquisition, airport park, highway projects, water meter project, Carmel Water District number 2 and Water District number 9, and Carmel Sewer District number 1. In the October bond and band sale, there was $6,640,000 of new money in that debt that was issued. In the 2020 budget, we estimated a 15% increase in the garbage contracts. Those contract bids, bid results are due this month. Yes. So right now, the increase in the tentative budget is 15%, but that may change up higher or lower. In the highway fund, budget for snow materials expense is $700,000. Snow removal overtime expense is $360,000. That's remained the same as the prior year. $150,000 is budgeted for capital machinery, increasing the capital reserve to $403,919 due to an unused carryover balance of $253,919. Snow reserve fund balance as of 12/31/18 was $750,000. Due to a rough winter, January through March of 2019, we may need to transfer money into the snow overtime line to cover overtime through December of 2019. The available balance in that line right now is $46,000. Carmel Water District number 2 and Carmel Water District number 9 will see a special district tax increase due to annual debt obligations from capital project costs. Carmel Sewer District number 4 will see a special district tax increase due to an increase in the O&M contract with regard to emergencies and operator overtime expense. Technology upgrades, we've budgeted $80,000 in the 2020 budget for technology upgrades, and the fund was established a couple years ago for the data imaging equipment. The balance in that fund right now is $75,000. This represents the employee and retiree benefit costs. The green bar is the health insurance. So you'll see the health insurance has continued to increase over the years. In 2019, it's pretty much flat due to many employees, as I mentioned earlier, taking advantage of the buyout. The retirement expense, as I mentioned, also is I would say flat from 2019 to 2020, and the same thing with our workers' comp. The retirement expense, again, is because the officers are in a higher tier, which our percentage contribution is less. The other reason our employee contributions, our health insurance costs are not increasing as much is because of the employee health insurance contributions that we're receiving due to union contract settlements. So that has increased, so now we're budgeting to health insurance contributions of $360,000 in the 2020 budget. Mortgage tax revenue is again flat from 19 to 20 at $950,000. Back in 2014, it was at a low of approximately $680,000. Did hit over $1 million in 2016, but has not reached that high since then. This is a pie chart that shows the budgeted revenues. 79% of our revenues is property tax. 6% is state aid. 4% is intergovernment service fees and revenue. This is the expenditures so the total townwide expenditures is $30.6 million, as I mentioned earlier. Public safety is $10.8 million of that. That includes police, traffic control, dog control, and code enforcement. 6.3% is general government, 6.3 million is our general government, which is our town departments. Transportation and highway is 8.7 million, which is 28.6% of our budget. Debt service is 2.2 million, 7.3%, and recreation and culture is 2.1 million of the budget, or 6.8%. This is just a sample tax bill for a taxpayer in the Mahopac Central School District at a property valued at $410,900. Total taxes is $12,539. The school is the biggest piece of that pie at 63%. The town is 13%, and the county is 8%. Water district is 9%, and other special districts are small. And then this is a taxpayer in the Carmel Central School District, house valued at $331,000. Again, the school is 64%, town is 14%, and the county is 9%. The rest is special districts, including water, sewer, garbage, and emergency. And that's it.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thanks, Mary Ann. So that completes Mary Ann's presentation on the tentative 2020 town general, highway, and special districts budget. Keep in mind, this is tentative. It is subject to change, and it probably will before we adopt it. But the public will be made aware of what the changes are going forward. But the board now gets it, so I hand it off to them, including me. But they're involved in the process now, and we'll move forward with reviewing it and making changes either up or down with respect to spending. So we'll keep you all informed. Does anybody have any questions on the budget that Mary Ann presented tonight as the controller for tentative PowerPoint budget that we just went through? If anybody has any questions for her, I'm going to keep her here for a few minutes. So now's the time for you guys to come up and ask if you have any specific questions that she just went over in her PowerPoint. If there aren't any, that's fine also.
Mary Ann, while they're trying to figure something out, maybe you can help me out. I'm trying to figure out with the mortgage tax revenue, I know that we had budgeted $950 this year, and we're looking at keeping it level for next year. Do you know what the current year-to-date is? I know I saw through August, and I'm not sure if they came out with September numbers yet.
We actually just got September numbers. It was a little over 100,000. So if we're at 580 in August, so we're at 680. Yeah, we just got those numbers today for September.
So okay. So just on that, we still are projecting to be short.
Yeah, unless we get 100,000 in the next, 3 months, I mean, if it, yeah,
Yeah.
we may be
And,
short.
Mike, you might have more insight on this, but what is the market looking like? Just from what I see, at least on the market side itself, it's not looking very hot. And I'm wondering if the 950 is something we might want to be adjusting in our tentative budget to go to a final budget, just because if we're not
Right.
going to hit it in 18, I don't know, from at least the indicators I'm seeing, if we're going to hit anything close to it in 20.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you see differently on the home sales side and the
Jim
volume
go?
that's going out.
What are you seeing, Jen? What are you seeing
don't know.
as far as the market? Is it still, it's still active?
About the mortgage
Yeah,
mortgage
yeah.
equipment, it's skewed, you're getting a lot of cash buyers.
There's cash buyers.
And that makes it
Okay.
real tough to get
Right.
that
You don't get?
money coming in, right?
Right.
So that's one of my concerns, and that's just because I know we had discussed that, I think, 2 or 3 months ago. And I haven't seen anything indicating that it was gonna get better. It did look like Putnam numbers were up, though, from previous year, but it doesn't mean that we're getting more mortgage revenue, unfortunately.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right.
There's more inventory coming on?
And the days on the market is
Okay.
longer, the cycle takes longer now, right? That's what I've been seeing, right? No, it's not, nothing to be panicked about, right?
Okay, great, thanks, Jen. All right.
Yeah, we can take a look at that. We'll take a look at the number.
All right, did anybody reconsider coming up to ask any questions with respect to the budget only at this time? Okay, thank you. Great job, Mary Ann.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Okay,
Thank you.
here's the rest of the schedule for this budget cycle. So, tonight we presented the budget. Now we're gonna go on, so the town board starts the review of the tentative budget, which I mentioned. On, October 9th, town board continues review and preparation of preliminary budget. October 16th, the town board schedules a public hearing for the preliminary budget. And the town board files preliminary budget with the town clerk deadline. It is October 16th for that. On October 24th, the notice of the public hearing will be published in the local newspapers. 10/5 is Election Day. I'm not sure why that's in here. I'm sorry, 11/5. 11/5. 11/6, the date for the public hearing, which is the date following the Election Day. Date for public hearing on preliminary budget. November 7th, legal deadline for public hearing on the budget. 11/20, November 20th, final review and adoption of the 2020 budget. So, so that's it. So this is our budget calendar. We'll be following that very closely, and we'll keep the public informed of any changes to the budget as we move along with this. So, thank you very much for your diligence tonight in listening to my budget message and the budget presentation of Mary Ann's PowerPoint of it as well. So, more to come. This is just the first step of it, of the process. All right, so now we're going to move on to the town board voting meeting. And we have 18 items tonight that we're going to be voting on. So we're going to start with resolution number 1. And this resolution is accepting a proposal for special counsel. Councilman Schneider, would you read resolution number 1, please?
Whereas there have been published reports suggesting that there has been a misuse of town resources by Michael Borelli, a member of the town board, acting in his personal capacity, more specifically involving an alleged unauthorized hookup to the town sewer system without proper approvals involving property he owns, that certain violations have been issued in connection with this matter, and that the circumstances are under review by several government agencies as well. And whereas the town legal counsel has recused himself from the matter, and whereas the town board has considered engaging Cozen O'Connor, an outside law firm which the board has previously interviewed in connection with other matters to investigate the allegations and advise on what steps, if any, the town should take based on the outcome of the investigation. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to engage Cozen O'Connor for these purposes on the terms set forth in that certain letter dated September 25th, 2019, from Kenneth K. Fisher, a member of the firm, and to execute the same on behalf of the town. Be it further resolved that the board directs all town employees to fully cooperate with such investigation, to provide such records as Cozen O'Connor requests, and it is further resolved that Cozen O'Connor is authorized to contact such government entities, individuals, and other parties as they deem reasonably necessary in furtherance of their investigation, and be it further resolved that Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget revisions to effect payment for the aforesaid proposal. I offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Discussion on the motion?
Discussion on the motion? Sure, Mike, there's a second, so yes, you can.
Or should I say second for discussion?
Yes, for discussion. You seconded it, you're requesting discussion on the
Discussion
second?
on the motion?
Okay, all right, sure.
Who prepared the resolution if Greg recused himself?
You're asking who prepared the resolution?
Who prepared the resolution if Greg recused
Councilor
himself?
Schneider, can you?
I think it was prepared, and it was presented to you from the outside counsel that we're looking to do the resolution for.
So the outside counsel prepared their own resolution. And why are there no numbers attached so the taxpayers know how much is being spent on this? I mean, Ms. McDonough constantly says she's mistransparent. I mean, I think the taxpayers should know, and I'd like to know, how much money is being spent on this. I don't think it should be a secret.
I agree.
It's variable.
Yeah.
It's variable,
It-
what's your
it
low
should
and what's
be.
your high, because,
I know that, I believe they're asking for a $10,000 retainer.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I believe they are asking for a $10,000 retainer to start. And then they did give prices, for the different, it ranged, I think, from like $200 to $900 for the variable lawyers that you use. But I guess it depends upon, with any investigation that you go on, is what is given and how long it is how much it's gonna cost.
their estimate, 50 to 70, $50 to $100,000, is that possible? Because
I didn't see
this,
that.
this is
Yeah,
the same,
50 or 70?
No, it's not 50, no, it indicates that, they indicate that it will probably exceed $40,000, in excess of $40,000.
so their guesstimate is gonna exceed that already. Isn't this the same law firm that Councilman Schneider was pushing to hire for Carmel Water #2 as a lobbyist? And I fought tooth and nail to say, why are we hiring lobbyists at $10,000 a month? I mean, I think it's the same law firm. And that's interesting, because if I killed that last year with the town, who they've been trying to get into for a long time to get some money, is that gonna be fair? I mean, you tell me.
That deal
And this
definitely wasn't
This is
canceled.
directed to the taxpayers, not to the board. Here's another interesting thing. 3 weeks ago, there was another out-of-district person that hooked up to a sewer line, not by direction of a government agency, which I'm claiming, and which I have papers to show anybody here except that gentleman. And anybody, I also offered these papers to everybody on the town board, and I told them they're classified because there's gonna be litigation with it. 2 people on the town board asked to see them, and they were shown to them. One person said, make copies, or I have to give it to an attorney. I says, but I don't wanna let it loose. I says, you could have it 24/7, as long as somebody's there with the package. 2 people saw it, and are spending the money without even looking at these papers. And 2 people did see it. But 4 weeks ago, there was somebody here from Greenway Terrace that hooked up a sewer line. Actually, the fee that they have them for is wrong. And there's no lawyer investigating them. I don't understand it. And what possibly could this very expensive Madison Avenue law firm find? First of all, were there any bids? Do we try any local law firms? Do we go straight to Cousins O'Connor? Is there anybody else that we checked? Silence is your answer.
I don't know if you're asking the public or if you're asking the board.
Well, I can only ask you that. The public didn't hire Cousins O'Connor.
Cozen O'Connor, and I spoke with a White Plains law firm. I spoke to a White Plains law firm. And I
Do we get
believe
any bids?
I
it
spoke with
Albany?
Albany Law Firm, and I also did speak with a local representative, but they basically said there's no one locally that should touch this with a 10-foot pole.
So we didn't go any local attorneys, and we only went to one guy who didn't get the business last time because of myself and Kenny and lobbying and Greg's good legal work.
No,
We didn't need him.
They didn't get the work because there was an article in Mahopac News that went to the DEP, and the DEP reached out to me and then to Kenny, and so we said we didn't need to hire the law firm because we actually created a relationship based on Bob Dumas's article that made it all the way to the commissioner of the DEP.
I must have been mistaken. But here's my question. What can this law firm find out that the DEC hasn't already found out, and I'm done with the DEC, that the DOT hasn't found out, and I'm done with the DOT, the Putnam County Board of Health, and I'm done with the Putnam County Board of Health, and the town of Carmel, which I'm done with too. I don't need anything from the people to the right of me to hook up to the sewer main. And interesting part, I never said it publicly, but the file from 25 years ago was lost, all during Dr. Seuss's articles. It was found maybe about a month ago that showed all of these things. So the only thing we're waiting for now is the DEP. And they know I have an attorney working on it. They know that there's contact with the DEP. They know that the Board of Health signed off earlier this week and acknowledged they had the papers that I told them they had.
I don't know that, earlier this week?
You should, before you do this, you should really stay up to date.
No information should be pushed to the 5 commissioners of this board.
So the Putnam County Board of Health is done, the town of Carmel is done, the DOT is done, the DEC is done. So I'm waiting for the DEP, which we all know works like a snail, and I'll read you the response from them today. Please see the below email, Blue Restaurant, have everything from Putnam County Board of Health. Please advise next step with the DEP so the owner can finalize this matter. Got it, Anthony. Anthony Mole is the attorney. I'll circulate it to operations folks. Signed by one of the heads of the DEP. Now, this file is available anytime in my office. Anytime. I'll make myself, I'll have somebody available to take it to your house if you like. Anybody except the Journal News. Also, speaking to State Controller last week, she's expecting her final report. Now, my investigation on this board didn't cost the taxpayers a dime. It was free. You can get an investigation on me free. They've called for 10 investigations on me already. Bob Buckley stands up here 10 times. Investigation, investigation. So, trust me, not a dime of taxpayer money has to be found out on this, but when the controller's thing comes out, you'll know what it's all about. It's biased, it's payback.
Do you have a copy of that report from the comptroller?
You tell me. We have preliminaries,
Okay.
and I spoke to her yesterday, and I spoke to her last week.
Mary Ann, do you have preliminaries? Do you have final?
You don't have a preliminary?
Kenny, do you have a preliminary? Jonathan, do you have a preliminary?
I received just some copies that she made me when I went in for an interview with the preliminary. We discussed it for about an hour and 15 minutes, what the findings were. At that point, she had given me a couple reference copies that she had had. But that was just an individual request based on certain reports that she had had. I just asked if I could get those. But I'll scan what I do have in if you guys want, and I can forward that off.
I don't have anything else to say.
Well, the nice thing is that everything that you just said actually should alleviate the taxpayer's concern, because if you have everything and all the answers and it could be easily resolved, then as I said before Councilwoman McDonough, mentioned something, the cost is variable. So this attorney will work on whatever the matter is, and if everything is easily resolved, then it should not cost close to $40,000 or $10,000 because it's easily resolved. We need outside counsel because we are right now flying somewhat blind with the outside agencies, and
Here's everything from the outside agency you don't want to look at.
I'm not an expert.
DEC, DEPs.
I'm not an expert.
No, you're right.
And I've always said, let the professionals do it. Let the comptroller, let the legal, let the engineers, and if we don't have counsel, let the outside counsel handle it. And again,
Well-
if it's all there, it's wonderful. Mike, I hope they exonerate you.
Yeah.
So if-
Exonerate me?
If,
I'm not looking for that.
So-
I'm not
so-
looking for exoneration.
okay.
There's nothing to exonerate. Do your vote.
Can I just, I really wasn't gonna talk.
Exonerate on the claims that are being made against you, Mike.
Excuse me?
Exonerate, again,
What are the
exonerate the
claims, tell the
that are being.
taxpayers what the claims are that are being made against me in a councilman's term and not a columnist term. I'm not even gonna call him a journalist.
It's the same letter that the DEP sent us that the town is in violation, that you are illegally hooked up.
Right.
The DEP sent the town and said the town is in violation of the town's agreement with the DEP. So
If
I
you
hope,
read this-
I hope everything is exonerated. I hope those claims and the record is set straight. And I hope that's what I hope.
That's good. Hope is good.
Susan?
I was just gonna say, I did, meet up on, I think it was Monday,
Monday.
to review the files. And again, I am not, a expert on all of this, and, Nicole helped me a little bit, and Mike also came in also and helped me explain things, but I did say at that meeting when we met, that with the 1991 resolution, there were certain things that had to be done. And I personally did not see that they were done, and I believe at that time, Mike also agreed. That being said, he did have the Putnam County Health Department, and he said on his notes, yes, he gave them to the people, but they didn't receive it, okay? They're claiming to receive it. Everybody knows that that can happen. You send something out, nobody gets it, okay? But unfortunately, it's on us, or at this time, it's on Michael to make sure that they got it, okay? So to me, what I was looking at as a councilwoman was, and doesn't matter who was in front of me, was everything done that I needed to be done from the 1991 resolution. I did not see that, and, I'm not saying it's not in the works, because there's stuff saying that it is in the works. And from what I saw today, there was an email sent out, not a letter, an email sent out saying that Putnam County now has everything. But if they did send a letter saying that there was a violation, they should send out a letter saying that there is not a violation. Okay, so I'm just looking for the dot the i's, cross the t's.
Email says there's no the email says it's ready for approval.
Right, but what I'm saying is me
Email to
being
us or email to you?
a professional,
Email to me that I shared.
Got it.
right, but what I'm saying, me being a professional, if the county sent something
Oh,
on
because I didn't
a
look at the
letterhead
stack,
saying
you
that there
didn't
was
vote
a
right here.
violation,
John, it's right here.
that there should be a letter saying, not an email, saying that that the violation, that they have all the material, and it should be, that it's lifted, or whatever the terminology is, that the Putnam County Health Department would do. And that could be that they're just waiting on it,
So you're
okay?
saying email is not as good as a letter?
Like what I'm saying from let me tell you something, I would, from the county, anybody professional, yes, I do believe that if a letterhead and a letter was given stating that somebody was in violation, something, that person also get a letter saying that it's not in violation. I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm just saying it's professional. I'm saying it's professional. And then with the DOT, I think it was the DEC, they were saying in some of the paperwork that they didn't have what was the terminology?
It didn't exceed the gallonage,
It
the
didn't
flow
exceed,
didn't
so-
exceed.
The DEC was very clear.
Yeah, like they
It
didn't have a
It didn't exceed the flow where it
no, something
required a
with
speedies
preview.
permit.
Yeah, the speedies permit,
DEC was
but the
very clear in saying I
DEP,
didn't need a speedies permit.
right,
And the Journal News site filed the complaint
right,
that I
right,
didn't have a speedies
DEC was
permit.
very clear with that.
Um,
Yep, the DEC was very clear with that. The DOT was still waiting for something, and I think the DEP. So, you know, me personally, I wish that this could get done, so we can start looking at the positive
Probably
things
would
in the
be
town
by
of
next week.
Carmel. So, you know, hopefully the DOT, the DEP, will get whatever they need in. But you know, I did look at it, and again, you know, I'm not a professional at it, but I didn't see things that would relate to the completion of the 1991 resolution. But that's all I want to say on it, because I think that, you know, I just want to get back to positiveness and what's great in this town, and, you know, hopefully this will move forward. That was it for me.
It's okay. I'm not going crazy though, because you
Yeah.
can't find my
I can't
email
find
on
it,
the
no.
email. Okay.
No,
I
I don't think
didn't
it,
get the
I don't
email.
think it was sent to you.
Okay.
I don't think you sent it. And this here, and this is not just for this is this in general, and I've been complaining about this for years. Not everybody is ever always copied on stuff, so you can't blame other council people, they don't know something because it was only shared with certain people. That's generally across the board, you know, all five of us, you know, have a habit of doing that, and, you know, we really need to start, you know, coming together and including everybody. But that's all I got, I don't wanna say anything else.
Jonathan, you have anything you want to say? No. Okay. All right, what I'm going to say is, I know how I'm going to vote on this. I'm going to abstain, and I'll tell you why. No, I could vote no, but I'm abstaining because I do agree with the outside legal counsel assisting the town board and guiding us to make sure that things are being done correctly with respect to this matter. What I disagree with is the proposal. It's excessive, it's a lot of money, and when I first read it, I got very concerned about it, that we're gonna spend in excess, potentially, spend in excess of $40,000 on this matter, and I don't think that needs to be the case at all. I think you heard tonight that Councilman Borelli has been in touch with the regulatory agencies that review permits for sewer hookup, and it sounds to me like they are reviewing it, reviewing the matter, and they're going to be making a decision on it. The health department indicated that they'd be okay with issuing the necessary permits if the regulatory agencies that are reviewing the matter are going to agree with the applicant, which is Mr. Borelli, to allow him to hook up, and if he's satisfied all the requirements that are necessary with respect to the sewer connection, and they're going to issue a permit for it, the health department is going to sign off on it. It sounds to me like they are. I don't think we need to spend even $10,000 on this, to be quite honest with you. I think that, you know, we could have did an RFP and gotten proposals from other law firms. We didn't do that. You know, maybe got verbal proposals, which I wasn't aware of, from Albany or from White Plains, but we really needed a written RFP, a written proposal on what the cost might be. So I'm really not, I don't want to accept this particular one because we don't have competing proposals from other law firms that may have given us a better cost to do this. So that's why I'm against it. But I do agree with the concept of hiring an outside firm, because Council Fulchetti did recuse himself, as he should have, and we didn't do that appropriately. We didn't do it the correct way and do a formal RFP. And maybe you might hear that it's time sensitive, and we really needed to start this process moving forward quickly, as opposed to waiting for formal RFPs. So I'm not in favor of it, but I am in favor of outside legal counsel, so that's why I'm abstaining. If a no would mean that I wasn't in agreement with it at all, and I'm not saying that. I am in agreement with the law firm, but not the cost in this particular proposal. I'm against it. So.
If I could just piggyback on that. One of the things that was very, very specific in regards to that comptroller's procedural customary audit was in regards to the way that we acquire professional services. And the question was asked, did we do an RFP for our legal counsel? Did we do it for our special legal counsel? Do we do it for our labor counsel? All of which are answered no.
Oh, no. That's wrong.
And will we do it?
That is incorrect. They said that you must RFP. Mary Ann, correct me if I'm wrong. In the interview I had with the comptroller's personnel that was here,
It's recommended, and I'll give you the full list of every vendor that we paid with the amounts that they were paid, and I'll show you the ones that say Esquire at the end. and they were all in violation of our own procedural procurement policy, of which we need to update according to their preliminary report.
been in violation.
Number one was our legal services.
You've been in violation
Number two was
of
our
your
professional
procurement
services.
policy
Number
for the
three was our
last 10
emergency
years.
services.
That's
All
why
of
I'm
which are
sitting here.
outside
And
of
you're
what
doing it
our
again today.
procurement policy is.
That-
We
You
are
have no
in
idea what a
constant violation of the
procurement
procurement
policy
policy.
is for the taxpayers to save money. And that'll
Of which
come out
needs to
soon,
be
too.
addressed in our January organizational meeting with an updated procurement policy,
This
which I
town board
believe,
probably has wasted more taxpayer
Can you-
money
can
than any
you-
town
yeah,
board
is it
in
possible,
history
Ken?
in the last year alone. In the
Ken,
la-
can you-
before I
can
came
you
on,
control it?
Yeah,
based
Mike,
on-
can you?
Based on this comptroller.
or can you not?
Mike, I can.
I hope
can.
so.
Just
Thank you.
Just give me a minute, all right? I allow all of you to
You
speak,
have
your
to
town
report
board
from
member,
the
but
controller.
you were speaking,
Let
you
me
had
know.
the
Why do
floor.
you like drama so
Yeah,
much?
John-
You gotta hold it and like, you
John,
gotta hold
you
it from
had
the
the floor.
report, you gotta hold it from the,
You'll-
if you
if you
have
could
it,
give
get
the,
it out.
we had an officer who had to come
Get it
here and give
out.
an order in regards to
Get it
what's
out.
proper. If you could maybe
Call-
tell the rest of the
come on,
people sitting at the
phone
dais what's
calls.
considered
Call. Give
proper
it out.
in a governmental, organized meeting of voting.
John,
Controller.
now Councilman Lupinacci is speaking.
things you
Are you
shouldn't
gonna
do.
lecture him also? Don't just lecture me, please. I've given you plenty of opportunity to speak, everybody. Now we're talking over each other, all right? Don't talk to me about how to run a meeting, okay? I'm chairing the meeting, I allowed you to speak. Councilman Borelli was wrong for speaking over you, okay? I think I addressed that.
Can I finish my statement?
Excuse me, I'm speaking, and I'll let you finish.
Appreciate it.
Councilman Lupinacci then was speaking to Councilman Borelli. Who was interrupting who at that point?
I was out of order.
Me too.
Correct. They're all out of order, all right? Finish your statement.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Number one biggest
Susan
violator,
wasn't. She was the only
according
one
to
who
the
was-
preliminary audit, is our legal services. So to say that that's the reason why you're gonna vote against it, I find it very difficult that you didn't vote against any one of those other contracts that we hired for legal services.
I should have. Because we were told by the comptroller that you have to do a better job, Carmen.
Yes, absolutely. We have a lot of things.
But we're not doing it now. We're
No.
not doing it with this one.
I did not see the report, so if anybody has it, I would love to see it.
There is no report.
No, it's not a report,
There
it's
is
a,
no
it's a
written report.
preliminary finding.
It's-
Preliminary finding. All
I know.
right.
I can't wait.
Nothing, yeah, no, there's just, there are printouts of demographics and findings, but there is no official report that's come out yet.
Jonathan, with all due respect, you could say whatever you want to say tonight. Whatever you would like to say about me or anyone else, go ahead and say it. The bottom line is, this should have been RFP.
Absolutely.
Absolutely
We
should have been.
should start RFPing our emergency services
Okay,
as well.
so you're gonna vote on
repairs
something
we have.
that you don't know if there could have been competitive pricing out there or
I
not.
just did it last week on Cook, I just did it last week on B&J, we're just doing it right now.
We're doing it right now, but we could stop doing this right now.
But we didn't
Tonight.
do it last week either.
Do you want?
They're much bigger,
All right,
much bigger numbers.
Would you like to table this then, so we could do a more
Not,
formal
not at all.
RFP?
I was hoping we were gonna do it last week, but what I was really hoping for, and what I still hope for, is Councilman Borelli's utmost cooperation, because that file that he has is all that this outside legal counsel should need to review in order to say, good to go, move on.
And it won't
That's
be
all that we wanna do in
$40,000.
order to gain and promote the trust of the public, because there's a lot of discord that is being sown out in the public now, and a lot of it's filled on misinformation. So it's a small amount to pay in order to restore trust and confidence in the general public.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if there's any more discussion.
No, I'd like to, listen, if any board member would like to amend this resolution to reflect a not-to-exceed cost, I'd be more than happy to vote on it, to support it. A not to exceed. I don't like the fact that they're indicating, the law firm is indicating that it will be in excess, they believe it will be in excess of $40,000. Put a cap on it. Let the law firm do it with a cap. Put a $10,000 cap on it.
What if the law firm comes back and says, well, we really need to do more interviews, we really need to talk to the engineers, we really need to talk to the town engineer, we need to talk to this town employee, we need to talk to the comptroller. We gotta find out what's over at DEP, DEC, because there's so much information and that file looks very thick. I'm not an attorney, I don't review them for a living, I don't know what could come from it. I would be fine saying with a cap, but I think that we also have to caveat it with progress reports, but to me, it's a matter of, we're gonna get information when we need it.
There's a resolution and a motion on the table, it was second, we had our discussion. Are we gonna just keep going around and around? So
I'm
the-
just,
the-
John, I'm
with
just
you.
asking, is there any board member, I'll make the there's a motion on the table, because I can't make a motion. But if the motion should fail, I'd be more than happy to entertain a second motion to amend this resolution to reflect a cap of $10,000. But I don't think it's gonna happen, but, you know, listen, I hope it doesn't, but I predict if the board approves this tonight, it's gonna be in excess of $50,000 before it's over. That's my prediction. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But they're already telling you, the law firm's saying it's gonna exceed 40,000. So how do we get them? Potentially.
Because again, if that folder has everything, if the Pinsky file has everything, then it should not cost $50,000.
Which Pinsky file?
The stack
Oh,
of
that.
papers.
Pinsky file, it's totally,
Okay.
Trying to make light so we could actually, like, we don't
Listen,
need animosity.
We do have an attorney named Pinsky, though.
Oh, that's true, you're right.
So,
My bad.
my bad.
referring
I
to
thought you were referring to
the
Brad
file.
Pinsky.
Which time sensitive, just wondering.
We have a motion.
Yeah, there's a motion. Charles, there's a motion, there's a motion on the table, so we really do have to act on that, but listen, I appreciate this back and forth dialogue, even though I don't like raising my voice at all. Trust me, I don't. I'm very calm and rational, or I don't like to do that, so I apologize. But, you know, when something seems,
Okay.
I'm calm. Okay, so, are we done? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Borelli?
No, I think not.
Councilman Schneider?
No,
Yes.
I don't think, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you
He
should
can't
Recuse
vote
himself,
on this.
actually.
He's actually has to recuse himself.
For conflict of interest, should
Mike?
recuse.
You do? Okay. All right, Mike?
Yeah,
Councilman
Recuse.
Borelli
I'm
recused.
not part of it.
Right. So for the record, I think what you're saying is you're recusing yourself, correct, Mike?
No, for the record, I'm saying no, but if
Okay.
I have to recuse myself, I will.
Okay.
It's a recusal with a no.
So recusal with a no.
Councilman Schneider?
yes.
Councilman Lubinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Abstain. Guys, all I'm asking is to please, whoever out of the three that voted yes for this, please monitor it very closely and carefully. Watch the bills that are coming in, the invoice. Will you do that?
No,
Yeah.
before you end it, we're all gonna do that, because even though you abstain, you're part of, I mean, Councilman Borelli, because conflict of interest has to be out, but all four now, even though you abstain, they're still your council too. So you can monitor it, we can monitor it, Susie can monitor it, Jonathan can monitor it.
And similar to the
We
resolution and the
should all.
proposal, I think everything should
And
go through
not
the town
just that,
supervisor.
if I'm not mistaken, they,
So you're
before
right.
they
You're
were
right,
gonna
you're
build
right, you're
something,
right.
they were
No,
gonna
it's,
ask us.
you're on the outside.
Okay.
I thought I read that.
No, they're gonna keep up with incremental billing, giving us updates every 10,000 if we exceed 10,
Yeah,
20,
yeah.
30.
So if we stop at 10,000.
So we'll have 4 updates before we would hit the
Right.
potential.
Right.
But again, hopefully we'll get
So
full
it can-
cooperation,
it can-
everything will be
it can
moving on.
stop.
Yeah,
So we're good.
Okay, all right, we're good.
can stop.
Okay, we're good, thank you. All right, number 2, resolution in support of parking and vehicle traffic controls, New York State Department of Transportation signal improvements, project US Route 6. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read this? And after you read it, if you want to explain the conversation that you and I had, this is regards to
Oh, this is
what we discussed, yes.
the other day.
The other day, yeah.
Okay,
All right, so
sure.
if you want to
Embellish on it?
embellish on it or amend it, you can do that too.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby supports the project being considered by the New York State Department of Transportation identified as PIN number 8815.13. Specifically, those portions of said project which would prohibit parking on US Route 6 in Mahopac from 625 Route 6 east to Bucks Hollow Road, prohibit left turns from US Route 6 onto US Route 6N and into the proposed Town of Carmel parking lot to be located on US Route 6N, and prohibit left turns from Bucks Hollow Road onto US Route 6. Be further resolved that the town supervisor, Kenneth Schmidt, is hereby authorized to transmit a copy of this resolution to New York State Department of Transportation immediately. I offer this resolution as read.
Oh,
Did I read something wrong?
okay. I'm going to second it for discussion purposes. All right. So this no left turn from Route 6 eastbound to Route 6N westbound from 6, so if you're at the traffic light where the Spain agency is, there's a stop bar there where the Crossroads Deli is. So when you're traveling east on Route 6, vehicles that would like to make a left turn from eastbound Route 6 to swing around to westbound Route 6N or to enter our future municipal parking lot, there was some discussions about, can the DOT install a left turn arrow at that light? Because they're reconfiguring that whole intersection with new traffic signals. There's too many movements at that intersection, way too many. So they said that they would not install a left turn arrow. So the cars that are going to be sitting there waiting to make a left turn, which is currently permitted, the whole line of cars behind them, any cars that are behind that vehicle, have to wait for them to make a left turn before they can proceed eastbound on Route 6. Everybody following me? So the issue with prohibiting no parking on the shoulder of Route 6 from the stop bar, which is the white stop line, east to Bucks Hollow Road, would keep vehicles from parking on the shoulder of the road, so other cars that are waiting behind that stop car can merge around them. So the law permits you to pass on the right when a vehicle in front of you is attempting a left turn. So they want to prohibit no parking on that shoulder, so cars can go around the stopped vehicle. So if we're prohibiting the left turn, if we're prohibiting the left turn by resolution, then why is it necessary then
Right.
to create no parking on the shoulder of the road then at that point?
Right.
Because to me, it's not necessary then. So take one of the two out. So if you want to take out the no left turn, I'm okay with that, but just create the no parking on the shoulder. Not that many people park there anyway. I very rarely see
I've never seen anybody
any
park
cars.
there.
Charlie, you've been driving around this town for
I've never seen
decades.
anybody park there.
There's not many cars that park on that shoulder in front of the Spain Agency building.
Not
I-
for the past few years since there's been different tenants.
Yeah.
It really depends on who the tenant is
Who the-
downstairs.
yeah.
There have been times where people
Yeah.
would park out
But
there.
it's really from the gas station.
Right.
It's really from the gas station
Station
to the
back.
Spain, to like Bucks Hollow, Spain. There's never, ever cars that park there. So what Kenny was saying, if they're doing the no left turn, okay, then
Then
then the traffic is moving.
it's
There's
gonna
no
flow.
need to have
Right.
cars parked there. Do
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So have one, because what I don't want to happen, and I explained what my concern was, is that the DOT is going to come in and they are just going to put signs galore in downtown Mahopac, and it's going to look absolutely horrible. When you have a beautiful tree with Swan Cove there, and it looks beautiful. I don't want signs, no parking here, no left turn there. I don't want that, and that was my concern with this. We're doing something absolutely stunning down there, and then I don't need the DOT coming up and putting up these signs when
All right,
they're
all
not
right,
needed.
So let's do this.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, Susie. Let's amend the resolution then. Take out the no left turn. Remove that from make the motion to amend the resolution, Sue.
Well, I don't care
seconded it, so you
if
can
you wanna do if you wanna do the no left turn or the no parking. It
I
should be
wanna-
one or the
I
other,
wanna-
but
I
I
wanna-
wanted to see what these guys wanted. It's not just my decision.
Right, okay, so we're not gonna do both, because I don't think you need to do both.
I
Do
don't
one
think
or
we need
the
to
other.
do both either.
All right, so allow the cars to make the left turn there.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I saw the layout that you provided, and I
Yeah.
don't see why they wouldn't be able to widen it, get a third travel lane in there,
In
which would be
there,
the
yeah.
left turn only.
Yeah.
Even if we knock out the parking all the way back past Sunoco to where we have Putnam Music,
Yeah.
you still open up that turn only lane. And I keep thinking about 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, when that's built out, when we have the sidewalks built out, and when commerce is hopefully booming downtown, that left turn would be instrumental in the use of that facility that we're building. And we're dropping a lot of money into that facility. It would be nice to have cooperation from the DOT. And I still kind of, even looking at what you had sent us, I'm still scratching my head. Why is it not possible when they want to knock out parking on both sides?
Yeah.
Looks like there's more than enough room.
All right, so let's take out, I'm gonna make a motion to amend the resolution to remove, prohibit, so keep in, specifically those portions, said projects which would prohibit parking on US 6 in Mahopac, 625 Route 6 East Lake Boulevard. All right, so where it says prohibit left turns from US 6 onto Route 6 into the proposed Town of Carmel, so take that out. So we're gonna remove prohibit left turns from US 6 onto 6N, right? And into the proposed Town of Carmel parking lot to be located on 6N, and prohibit left turns. All right, so we want to keep in prohibit left turns from Bucks Hollow Road onto Route 6. We're going to leave that in.
Right.
because I agree with you. I think that should be no left turn there. So just take out, all right, did everybody take that out? Did they amend it?
I'll second the.
Prohibit.
Did you want to specify where on Route 6? Because Bucks Hollow, we have those two, I think you had said, and you didn't want it to be confused, even though you said it wasn't really technically Bucks Hollow that came out there.
So
wall hours.
So I think this covers it, Jonathan, when it says from 625 Route 6 east to Bucks Hollow Road. So going eastbound, you know where Bucks Hollow Road comes out, and it comes down as a slight left turn, and it's a steep left turn? So that's where the no left turn would be, coming
Okay.
out of there.
I have a question. I know it's a state road, but has anybody spoken to Michael Simone about this? I mean, coming out of Bucks Hollow?
Yes, I did.
It is.
I
You
did. Well, no, I didn't speak to him about that. I spoke to him about, what Mike said to me tonight was, if you're gonna prohibit no left turns from Route 6 onto 6N, then he would recommend making Cherry Lane one-way, a one-way street, so you can only get from Route 6 to 6N as a one-way. He says if you're gonna prohibit left turns from 6 onto 6N at that point, then you should probably
Can
make
I-
Cherry Lane a one-way.
One-way from 6
From 6
going on
to-
to 6N.
Can I
Yeah,
make a
to allow
suggestion?
cars
Flow.
Makes sense.
Slow.
To keep-
Should we
to keep the
table
flow.
this to have further discussion? Is this like, do they need to have this?
Yeah, maybe
I-
even bring in Judy and the Traffic Safety Committee and maybe have a little bit more
All right.
discussion
I
on
All
it.
right,
mean,
I'm
did
fine.
DOT make, I'm just saying, like, I think that there's,
Huh?
Maybe it's a good time
Yeah,
to table
from
this.
6 to 6N, one way, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And the reason why Mike recommended that was because if we were gonna do this, then the cars needed a way to get to 6N to go up to turn into the park, to the parking lot and through town.
It's
So
a solution.
it's a solution, right, so we wanna table this?
I think it's a good idea.
I'm just saying, I think that there's a lot of discussion here.
So it's a
It-
great
it's up
idea,
to you guys.
so make a motion to table it.
I make a motion to table for further discussion.
I second it.
But guys, we really have to discuss it. I can't just.
We do, no,
Okay,
no,
good.
we will.
I think a
we will-
lot of it has to do with DOT and getting them on board.
Okay.
We will discuss it. We have time because the DOT
Annie.
is not starting that project till next year.
It was supposed to, now, when we started talking to him last year, it was supposed to have started at the end of this summer. So if it starts next year, it'll probably be an impressive feat for it to be kicked off
All
by
right.
then.
Sorry about this, folks.
And we
just,
want to work with
we
the
wanna make it
DOT,
right. We
but,
wanna
you
do
know,
it
we want to
correctly.
work.
Okay,
don't-
We also had a lot of
there-
discussion
there is-
last week at
there
the
is
work
a
session
table.
on it.
This is a voting session, not a work session. We've discussed it. We're gonna table it, and now we'll work on it. So
Do you need a second?
We need a,
I seconded
we
the
need,
table.
well, we need a roll call vote.
Okay, so we have the motion to table from Councilwoman McDonough, seconded by Supervisor Schmidt,
Okay.
with
Roll
roll
call
call
vote.
as follows. Councilman Borelli?
This is the table, right?
Yes,
Yes.
the table.
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupináci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes. It's been tabled, so more to come on this. All right. So next resolution, number 3, is a resolution authorizing mailing of the Lake Cassie Park District newsletter. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read 3, please?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel, acting as the Commissioners of the Lake Cassie Park District, hereby authorizes the mailing of the September 2019 newsletter as prepared by the Lake Cassie Park District Committee to all properties within the district, and further directs that the cost thereof be charged as a district expense. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote?
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupináci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried, thank you. Next resolution, number 4, is a resolution authorizing budget modifications 2019/4. Councilman Borelli, would you read 4?
Whereas the Town Comptroller, Mary Ann Maxwell, has reviewed the proposed final budget modifications for the period ending August 31st, 2019 with the Town Board, which are detailed and explained on the attached budget revision schedule 2019/04. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes and ratifies the final budget modifications/revisions for the period ending August 31st, 2019, as shown itemized on Schedule 2019/04, which is attached here to, incorporated herein, and made a part hereof. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote?
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupináci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried, thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 5, is a resolution authorizing acceptance of proposal for the purchase and installation of air conditioning unit, Sycamore Park Recreation Building. Councilman Schneider? Would you read this, please?
Whereas the town board of the town of Carmel has been advised by Town of Carmel Director of Recreation and Parks, James R. Gilchrist, that the Sycamore Park Recreation Building requires purchase and installation of an air conditioning unit. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, in accordance with the recommendation of James R. Gilchrist, hereby accepts the proposal of Aspen HVAC of Carmel, New York, for the purchase and installation of said air conditioning unit at a cost not to exceed $6,780 in accordance with the proposal dated September 6th, 2019. Be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates and/or bonds in form acceptable to town council, town supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is hereby authorized to sign any and all documentation necessary to authorize the actions contained herein. Be it further resolved that town comptroller Marion Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all budget transfers and modifications necessary to fund the services authorized herein. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli? Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 6.
Ken, if you don't mind, just a point of clarification, because we
yeah.
had discussion on that last week. There was the discussion of using a different bidder because of a Lennox unit that was quoted. That Lennox unit that was quoted was what was being replaced. Neither one had a Lennox unit that they bid on for the 4-ton replacement. So we did go with the least expensive bidder.
Great, thanks, John. Okay, Councilwoman McDonough, would you read number 6? It's for bid for painting reflectorized pavement striping, Town of Carmel Highway Department.
Shall resolve that the town board of the town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of Town of Carmel Highway Superintendent Michael Simone, hereby authorizes the award of bid for painting of reflectorized pavement stripes for the period of September 1st, 2019 through August 30th, 2020, with a one-year renewal option from Atlantic Pavement Marking, Inc., Prospect, Connecticut, under Putnam County bid number RFB 2119. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli? Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 7, is a resolution establishing an employment anniversary date. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read 7?
Resolved that the town board of Town of Carmel hereby revises the date of hire and/or anniversary date of employee number 1037 from September 9, 2011 to April 24, 1998 for all purposes, including but not limited to credit in the New York State and local retirement system. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 8, is a resolution authorizing Town of Carmel Director of Codes Enforcement attendance at a seminar. Councilman Borelli, would you read 8?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby authorizes Town of Carmel Director of Codes Enforcement, Michael Carnazza, to attend the 2019 Tri-County New York State VOC conferencing being held on November 12th through November 15th in Kingston, New York. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel authorizes payment of reasonable and necessary expenses incurred in connection therewith upon order. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded?
Okay, did you second it, John?
Yes.
Seconded by Councilman Schneider. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. The next resolution, number 9, is a resolution authorizing Town of Carmel Fire Inspector Joe Wilichowski to attend this seminar. Councilman Schneider, would you read 9?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby authorizes Town of Carmel Fire Inspector Joseph Wilichowski to attend the 2019 New York State Building Officers Conference in-service training certification being held on October 7th through October 9th, 2019 in Albany, New York, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel authorizes payment of reasonable and necessary expenses incurred in connection therewith upon audit. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. All right, resolution number 10 is a resolution authorizing extension of a contract for cemetery maintenance services, R 2016-003. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read 10?
Yes, resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of town engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., authorizes the extension of the existing contract for Town of Carmel cemetery maintenance services with Kiko's Landscaping, Carmel, New York, for a period of 2 years commencing January 1st, 2020, and concluding December 31st, 2021, at an annual cost of $12,705 for each year. And be further resolved that upon presentation of insurance and bonds in form acceptable to Town Council, Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is hereby authorized to sign any documentation necessary to effectuate said contract extension renewal on the terms authorized herein on behalf of the Town of Carmel. I offer this resolution as read.
I second it. Roll call vote?
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. We have about 21 historic cemeteries in the town of Carmel that we have to maintain. So this company, Kiko's Landscaping, has been doing an excellent job maintaining those cemeteries for an annual cost of $12,705 a year, which is pretty reasonable for that many cemeteries that they cut once a week. So they're doing a great job with that, and I agree that we should renew their contract for the additional 2 years. Okay. Next resolution, number 11, is a resolution authorizing acceptance of proposal for contracting services for sewer street lateral repair. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read 11?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of Carmel Sewer District Number 1, hereby authorizes acceptance of the proposal for repair replacement of street lateral at the Mahopac National Bank facility on Route 6 in Mahopac to be performed by Ed Cook Excavating, Inc., Carmel, New York, at a cost not to exceed $16,000 and in accordance with the proposal dated July 30th, 2019. And be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates and any necessary bonds in form acceptable to Town Council, Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is hereby authorized to sign any and all necessary documentation required to accept said proposal on the terms authorized herein, and be it further resolved that Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any budget transfer or modifications necessary in connection with this authorization. I offer this resolution as read.
Okay, I'll second it. Roll call vote?
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. So the Mahopac National Bank's street sewer lateral has failed, so they're currently not able to use their bathrooms at the bank, and because the lateral is no longer working. It's probably just got old and it collapsed, and it's just either clogged or just failing completely. So a new one has to be installed at that location, and that's what this is about. It's a sewer lateral, on street level sewer lateral. Okay, next resolution, number 12, is a resolution entry into contract for maintenance services, Lake Cassie Park District, OR 2019-008. Councilman Borelli, would you read 12, please?
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the Lake Cassie Park District, has previously sought proposal for maintenance services of the Lake Cassie Park District properties and facilities. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the Lake Cassie Park District, and upon the recommendation of Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, hereby authorize the acceptance of the proposal of Mr. Terrence Kelly, Mahopac, New York, to perform said maintenance services for fiscal years 2020, 21, and 22 at annual cost not to exceed $13,000. Be it further resolved that Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is hereby authorized to execute any extension or amendment as well as any necessary documentation required in connection herewith. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote?
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 13, is a resolution accepting a proposal for landscaping and maintenance services, Town of Carmel landfill. Councilman Schneider, would you read 13?
Whereas Town Engineer Richard Franzetti has solicited proposals for the performance of landscaping maintenance services for the Town of Carmel landfill, and now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Carmel Town Board hereby accepts the proposal of Coviello Landscaping of Carmel, New York, for the performance of landscaping and maintenance services for the Town of Carmel landfill for a 3-year term of 2020, 2021, and 2022, with a renewal option in favor of the Town of Carmel for 2 additional 2-year periods at an annual cost not to exceed $13,000. Be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates in a form acceptable to Town Council, Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is hereby authorized to execute any and all documentation required to formalize the acceptance of said proposal on the terms authorized herein. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 14, is a resolution authorizing substitution of a collateral in connection with a performance bond, tax map 65.05-1-38, Countryscapes, Wixon Pond Estate Subdivision. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read 14?
Sure, whereas a performance bond in the amount of $110,000 has been previously posted by Baker Residential Limited Partnership and is being held by the town of Carmel in accordance with the land subdivision and/or zoning regulations for tax map number 65.05-1-38. And whereas Wixon Pond Estates LLC, successor to Baker Residential Limited Partnership, has requested a substitution of collateral for the aforementioned surety bond in form of a cash bond in the amount of $110,000 as security for the completion of the approved site improvements within said subdivision. Now therefore be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the substitution of cash bond in the amount of $110,000 as collateral for the completion of the site improvements in the Wixon Pond Estates subdivision. And be further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the release of the currently surety bond being held for the Wixon Pond Estates subdivision designated as Travelers Insurance Company, bond number 104525037, posted with the office of the town clerk on or about April 27, 2009. And be it further resolved that substitution of collateral shall be deemed complete upon receipt of the aforementioned cash bond by the office of the town of Carmel clerk. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 15, is a resolution authorizing payment for repairs. Councilman Lupinacci, would you read 15?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of the various water and sewer districts of the Town of Carmel, and upon the recommendation of Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, hereby authorizes the following payment for repair performed within the reference district. I'm going to list the vendor name, the service, and then the dollar amount. B&J Plumbing, service was for Carmel Water District Number 4, air compressor replacement repair, invoice September 5th, 2019, for a dollar amount of $7,024. Second item, B&J Plumbing, Carmel Water District 6, well pump replacement, invoice September 17th, 2019, for an invoice amount of $6,545.73. Be it further resolved that Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget revisions to affect payment for the aforesaid repair authorizations. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 16, is a resolution authorizing payment for repairs. Councilman Borelli, would you read 16, please?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the following contract services performed on town-owned properties. Mike's Blue Wheel Service, removal, transport, construction and demo materials, invoice September 9th, $10,154.28. Bar Construction, Inc., excavation, drainage, repairs, tank removal services, invoice September 13th, $8,072. Be it further resolved, the Town Board expressly waives the application of its adopted procurement policy in connection with the aforesaid mentioned goods, services, and this authorization, and be it further resolved that the Town Controller, Mary Ann Maxwell, is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget revisions to effect payment for the aforesaid repair authorizations. I offer this resolution as read, and I thank these people from the bottom of my heart for their donations.
Second?
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes, and thank you to everybody who volunteered down there.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes, and I want to also say thank you. It looks spectacular.
It's really coming along.
And Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, and thank you for the volunteers that worked down there cleaning that site up. Did a great job so far. Okay, next resolution, number 17, is a resolution authorizing signing of change order number 1, Airport Park Phase 2 improvements, contract C-255. Councilman Schneider, would you read 17?
Whereas the town board of the town of Carmel has previously awarded the contract for the above project to U.S. Pitchcarrell LLC, and whereas
It's Pitch Care. Pitch Care, drop the L.
Pitchcare LLC.
Everybody drop the L in Pitch Care?
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
A lot more sense. Whereas consulting engineer, Insight Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture PC has provided proposed change order number 1 to the aforesaid contract to the town board for consideration and review. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby authorizes town supervisor to sign change order number 1 to the aforementioned contract, resulting in an overall contract price increase of $31,440. Said change order to be in form as attached hereto and made a part hereof. I offer this resolution.
Said, second.
Yeah, it's good.
Good? All right,
Did you finish reading?
seconded it too quick.
Sorry.
He's thinking about ice cream already. It's like,
Yeah.
time's ticking.
Offered by Councilman Schneider, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote?
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
You know what, you guys are probably gonna kill me.
It's already approved, so you could say,
I
mean,
know it's approved.
I think it stinks, but it has to get done.
I've got to tell you, I just received, I just received copy of what the fence is going to look like. And I've been
Stick it in the
asking
woods as
for
far back as we can.
like a month and a half to get copies, to look at it. And I'm not happy with it at all. I just am. I mean, one part of me wants to abstain because I'm
Right.
for, it's not that for discussion, John. I want to tell people why I'm
After
voting.
you vote, then you can have discussion. The order is that you vote, and then afterwards
Well,
you explain your vote.
I'm not sure how I'm gonna vote, so I'm talking myself through it, because I don't, one of me wants to abstain,
Okay.
and part of me wants to say, yes, I wanna abstain, because I just got this, and it, to me, it's not nice. It just isn't nice, and we're spending a lot of money up there. You're right, you know what, it already went through, I'm abstaining.
It's a
It's already
livestock
passed,
fence. But hopefully it will be
but-
set in a tree line, and
Yeah.
vegetation in 2 years will cover it.
But there's metal posts, it's not wood posts. I mean, I don't even have a
Right.
picture of what it is, so I apologize, but I have to abstain. I'm not against the fence at all. The fence has to go up because freaking people are doing their,
Yeah, we had some
Whoa.
vandalism there
Drives up
with
the
some dirt bikes
vandalism?
over the past week, so it's pretty imperative that we do this change order.
you
But yeah, I
know,
agree.
but I'm just not, that's it, go. I don't
What'd
wanna
you
go
do?
on, I
You
don't wanna.
abstained, right?
I think she recorded already, so we're,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. And
Yeah.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yeah, I'm not happy with the appearance of it either, but I'm going to vote yes because the fence has to be put up. We have to protect the fields. We have a huge investment with fields that were built up there. This is the airport park. It's got to be fenced off. We have to keep dirt bikes, quads, et cetera, out of there from damaging it any further. So, yes, I vote yes on it.
I've said it before.
Reluctantly.
I still think we gotta get cameras up there. We need cameras at all our parks. There's unfortunately too many incidents that we hit. And we only have cameras at a few of them. We don't have them at all. Perfect.
yeah. Yeah.
All right, so the motion carried 5 yes and 1 abstention.
4 yes, 1 abstention.
For,
We only have 5 board members.
All right, so 4 yes and 1, I'm sorry, 4 yes and 1 abstention. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Okay, 18, resolution declaring, it's been a long night. 18, resolution declaring water emergency pursuant to section 151-22 of the town code. Councilwoman McDonough, you have the honor of reading the last resolution.
Yeah. Whereas that the town board of the town of Carmel has been advised by town engineer Richard J. Franzetti, as well as B&J Plumbing, operator for Carmel Water District Number 4, that a water emergency exists within the aforesaid water district. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to section 151-22A of the town code of the town of Carmel, the town board acting as commissioners of the Carmel Water District Number 4 hereby declares a water emergency with respect to and within Carmel Water District Number 4. And be it further resolved that pursuant to Town Code Section 155-22B, during the period of said emergency as declared herein, the use of water for any of the following non-essential purposes as enumerated in Section 155-22C shall be prohibited. and these are following: the washing of motor vehicles except for windshields, mirrors, and the like, the cleaning or washing of the outside of buildings or other structures by the use of water or stream, the bleeding of supply lines for the purpose of maintaining a constant flow to prevent freezing, the flooding of outdoor skating rinks, the operation of swimming pools, portable and otherwise, except swimming pools designed and used exclusively for medical treatment, the use of automatic plumbing flush fixtures or apparatus, and the maintenance of constant flow from showers and similar apparatus, the use of hose, spout, and similar pressure bathing apparatus, and the maintenance of constant flow from showers and similar apparatus, the new installation of refrigeration and/or air conditioning equipment requiring the use of water, and the watering of lawns and private gardens, and the operation of ornamental ponds, pools, and fountains. Be it further resolved that the town clerk is directed to publish this resolution in the official newspapers of the town and to post said resolution on the official bulletin board of the town. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Lupinacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. How many people in this room know where Water District 4 is located? You do? How many people out here? No? Okay, so I'm going to tell everybody where it is. It's in the Lake Baldwin section of town. So if you're watching this and you just heard that Water District number 4, and if you're not sure which water district you live in, it's the Lake Baldwin section of town that this water emergency is being declared in. Just so everybody knows, that's the location in town where it is. All right?
Unless we get some serious rain, that will probably expand because even my well in the middle of Route 6 is dry. So it's,
and-
it's townwide,
Yeah,
townwide problem.
right. And I've
You have any pictures
gotten calls.
at 21 or 22?
I've gotten calls about Lake Mayapack seems to be low. Well, it is low. I got 2 calls this week actually asking me about it. They wanted to know if the sluice gate was open, releasing water from the lake. It's not. The valve is closed. It's the lack of rain is why the lake is as low as it is. So we need rain. We just haven't had enough of it lately, and that's what's causing the.
Yeah, there's a lot of other bodies of water around town that are running low. So a lot of the other lakes, reservoir systems are a little bit lower. And wells are running dry. I know my neighbor came to my house just about 10 days ago,
Yeah,
and unfortunately their well went dry, so
we need a soaking rain.
definitely
Sure
need some
do.
rain.
Yeah, a decent rain. Charles, thanks for calling on that, just to check. Appreciate it, thank you. Okay, that concludes the agenda items for this evening's town board voting meeting. If there's anyone here that would like to come up and comment on agenda items come on up at this time. Agenda items only.
My name is Emily Bacardi. I just had a question on agenda item number 1. I was wondering if you guys had mentioned that you had looked at other attorneys. What was the attorney in Albany and White Plains that you guys looked at? Their names. You guys, you know, what was their name? Albany?
No, I'd have to take a look at my notes. I did have a referral from the local attorney who had told me to reach out to them, so I'll take a look.
I thought we weren't allowed to, or you guys decided not to look at local attorneys, but you're going to take their word of who they referred to?
Oh, for a recommendation?
For recommendation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally just,
Okay, and the White Plains attorney? John?
Trying to think of the law firm, but I spoke with Mark Oxman. So I
Okay.
think it's Oxman's Law Firm or Oxman
And-
Associates.
Okay, and when you guys decided to go with this current attorney without looking at other individuals, did you guys consider conflicts of interest? Because you guys brought up conflicts of interest, now I'm curious.
yes, they actually have a specific paragraph in their proposal. Sorry, they have a specific paragraph in their proposal regarding conflicts of interest?
Do you have the proposal in front of you that you could read that?
I don't know, I don't even remember if it was emailed out to everybody.
Doesn't the attorneys or law firm have a?
Yeah, and I have it. I have the proposal.
Yeah, we represent many other companies or individuals, and it's possible that during the time that we are representing you in this matter, some of our present or future clients may have disputes or transactions with you or your affiliates and compete with you. You agree that we may continue to represent or may undertake in the future to represent existing or new clients in any matter that is not substantially related to this matter, even if the interests of such clients in those other matters are directly adverse to the interests of you or your affiliates. We agree, however, that your prospective consent to conflicting representations contained in the preceding sentences.
What about the personal interests of the attorney handling the matter? Does your proposal say anything about that? Do they consider it? Do you have any sort of records showing that they consider the conflicts of interest? Because by law, under your law and attorney's law, I know I'm an attorney, there are certain conflicts of interest they have to consider. So I'm wondering if you guys have documentation they've considered that, especially given the history.
Documentation, I'm sure they can provide that, no
Especially, I think as a taxpayer, I have a $22,000 tax bill I'm going to pay in a couple of weeks. I'd like to know whether all conflicts of interest were considered and whether they have documentation and proof of it, which they should have. I think since you guys already voted just to give it to them anyways, you may want to do us a benefit of the doubt and provide it.
I will reach out to them tomorrow, and I'll definitely see if I could get a written statement that there is no personal conflict of interest. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
and if there were, that you guys would consent to any of them. Because I think it has been very clear here that other specific individuals have been outspoken about their use of using this attorney or this law firm in particular. So I would be very interested to see if they thought that there would be any sort of conflict of interest there. That's it, thanks.
Jen?
Hi, Jennifer Marr. First, I want to say good job on the budget. It was a great presentation. It's a sad day when this whole fiasco overshadows the importance of the town budget. As far as the resolution that you passed to do the outside special counsel, I just want to make a couple of suggestions. Pretty much everybody said that they're not qualified to look through that pile of papers. Well, I can tell you, and Emily, you can vouch for me here, I deal with this all the time, violations. And sometimes the trail going from A to Z can be quite complicated to find. We had a deal just this week, and I can promise you, it was not the attorneys who solved the violations. It was the realtors. So I'm not suggesting that you get a realtor involved, but I suggest that maybe you get an expediter involved to make sure that everything is in the file is complete. Any information that you need from everybody is in there, so you're not spending all that money for an attorney to do that kind of work. It's not even the attorney doing the work; it's their paralegal, and you're being charged big numbers. And it's not always the case. This situation we had. No, the title company insisted on what Susie is saying, a letter on letterhead saying that all violations are cleared. Our building department does not give a letter saying all violations are clear. They clear the violations. Michael would not give a letter, and I don't blame him. So I just had to have a copy of all the cleared violations. These are not things that attorneys are necessarily very skilled in, and I think you would save a lot of money. Number one, to hire an outside expediter, who that's what they do. They understand the different agencies involved and where balls may have been dropped. I mean, Mike's already told about a lot of this was a misunderstanding because there was a file missing. That happens all the time in our own town. So now you're dealing with several different agencies. Hiring an attorney to do a forensic search on something like this just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. I understand having to have outside counsel. I understand all of that. But I think that you have to do it the right way. I also think if this is about to be completed in a week, you would be wise to vet that out, that that's really the case, and then perhaps wait until everything is completed so that you're handing over a complete file as well, because it's going to be expensive. I can think of it, if we were doing it in our law firm, it would cost a lot of money, because we would have a lot of people who don't know how to do it trying to figure it out. So, and it's just sad to me that, honestly, I understand that it's easy for me to understand what happened, what transpired with Mike's property, because I'm in the real estate business. But it's really sad that it turned into this circus. And I don't want to accuse of it being a political bandstand either, but I'm saddened by the quotes put in the article by potential candidates. I'm saddened by 3 articles about the same thing over one weekend It's a simple violation. It's a citation. We deal with them every single day. It doesn't make somebody corrupt. It doesn't make any of the accusations that are going back and forth. The amount of money that you are going to spend to figure this out is going to be 10 times more than any of, what do you call that, damages done to the town or to the taxpayers. This is a very simple thing, and I can guarantee you there are lots of other properties that have similar issues. Documentation 23 years ago, the approval process, permit process was completely different. It was very lax. There were very few records, and it's something that happens quite often. And it makes me sad that our town is being thrown under a bus and is being made a fool of. I can't go anywhere without people saying, what is going on there? You know, it's a problem in Putnam County, and it's a real problem in the town of Carmel. So I would like to see in the future, when these sort of things come out, a little more, you know, look, I've been on boards with John Schneider where we disagreed like you would not believe. But then publicly, when we voted on something, we respected each other, and publicly, we supported whatever we voted on, and we stuck together. And I know you guys are capable of that, but just even all this fighting back and forth, it's really, really got to stop. And allowing it to elevate to the levels of calling for resignations, and you should all be pissed off, because you all, I know what you make to do this, and I know what you go through to do it, and a newspaper is basically making a mockery out of you guys, and it's sad, and it needs to stop. And anybody who gives quotes and supports this is hurting our town. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to come up on agenda items only at this time? Come on up, if you'd like to. If not, I'm going to open up the, Charlie?
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charlie Melchner, and I want to thank my town board, for all the hard work you do, and our town attorney for leading you all in the right direction. So, agenda items, highway department, you allocated a certain amount of money. What a great job they do. Our town has never looked so good as it does now with our roads and side roads and catch basins. I saw them out working on Cherry Lane the past couple of days. What a great job that they do. Our Chamber Park, I don't know naturally as I'm chatting, I forget the name that we might potentially be calling it. But our Chamber of Commerce, the Mahopac Carmel Chamber of Commerce, built the park next door to it, and we did it without any taxpayers' money. And we should congratulate our community down to the grammar schools that chipped in pennies, nickels, and dimes. Remember, Susie, how they gave pennies, nickels, and dimes and came with it, and we had to go to machines and count that money out? I would hope that when we're building Willow Cove, I guess that could be potentially a new name. You're trying to say something to me, Kenny. Go right ahead.
No, you're talking about Swan Cove, right?
Swan Cove, thank you.
But
Swan
there
Cove.
may be a new name to it.
There may be a new name.
Yeah. I
That
like
you
Willow.
are in constant contact with our Chamber of Commerce. We need to put a point person there for you to chat with about how we're going to develop that, because there were so many plans that we were going to build a bridge across to the other side of the property, because I believe some of that property might have been part of the property that we purchased from the Godson family. So please be on top of that. Jim, I appreciate it. Notes. John Schneider, you said restore trust and confidence in our community. We need to restore trust and confidence on our town board and one another, and then maybe we can restore it to our community. My son Charles is in the audience, and he spoke up before. What's the urgency of going forward with this and spending taxpayers' money on getting this done? I'm referring to the sewer line for the Mahopac Beach property. I have a concern about the law firm that we're hiring, because they do have history with Mike Burrill. And you just read something a little while ago, John, where they said they recused themselves. Is that in essence what you said, or they wouldn't be involved? Please help me there, because I don't know how much money we spent on the microphone system, but
No,
we need some help with that, folks.
No, Charlie, thank you for getting up. Charlie and I have served on multiple boards together previously, and it's always a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you, John.
The reference that was put in there is in regards to just, I believe it's a boilerplate conflict of interest statement. There is, as far as I could tell, when you're talking about a firm of their stature, it's not a huge deal that they lost out on, and it's not really a deal that they lost out on because, again, as Councilman Lupinacci said, we sit down and we have negotiations, and they stand on the side and said, if you need any support, we're here for you. Had nothing to do, we didn't even go to a vote, and if it did, it probably would have been approved if we didn't have the negotiations going, but that is totally on the side. And for that conflict of interest, if there's anything personal, like I said, I'll get that written statement from them. But they have so many partners, and they're so large. I'd be surprised if there was a personal conflict of interest and they put that person who has that personal conflict of interest out here to work with the town in this scenario. I would very much so hope that that did not happen because there should be nothing at all that could possibly give the appearance of impropriety on what should be simple fact-finding, hopefully.
Thank you, John. And I know if you say you're going to look into it, you do look into it. I've had a great experience with you working in the past, and I thank you that. I had thought we had chatted at one point about getting a public works department. Are we chatting about?
There's conflicts of interest. In fact, I speak with a few engineers often about it, and they keep telling me, John, you have to get down to the numbers of it, and when you add in the equipment, the manpower, and the necessities that it would be in order to get a true public works, astronomically higher than what we have right now. And I haven't seen the pen to paper yet. This is just what I'm told from professionals in the industry that say if you go DPW, exponentially higher, and what's the benefit? So you have to kind of weigh out what the risk reward is that we would have. And hopefully the next town board might get some more information on that, but I don't think in this current town board there's any discussion, at least for the next 3 months.
Well, we've discussed, oh, no, not in the next
Yeah.
2 months. We've discussed it, but Mark Anthony's there, so.
So I would like to thank my town board again. Lily and I have done business here and lived here for over half a century, and to see that's progressed, our town hall, the way it looks. I think we're a great town, and I think that, as John Schneider said, we need to build trust in our community and trust amongst each other on our town board. When we first came here, this town board was made up of local business people that worked together, did things together, and made our town go to a good path. And as Jennifer Marr had said earlier, a lot of things were done with a handshake, and some of those things are coming back to bite us at this point. So please, let's try to rectify it in the appropriate manner that shows our strength as a town. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, Charlie. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else?
And it was also a pleasure to serve with Jen Marr on multiple boards as well. I don't want any personal offense to be taken without comments like that passed out there. But yes, we definitely had our conflicts, but I agree it was always done behind doors, and we were always tactful and appropriate to each other in public. And I'm sure now that I'll be done with this in a few months, I'll be seeing you guys out there on other boards going forward. So I look forward to working together again.
All right, we're good. All right, anyone,
Sorry, I'm good.
okay. Anyone else for agenda items only? I think we're still on, right? Yeah.
We are, yes.
Yeah, agenda items. Anybody else? All right, what about new business? We're going to open up the floor to public comment on general, it's open forum. Any new business that you might have? Come on up.
Okay. Now, Jennifer Marr, Chairwoman of the Putnam County Business Council, and I just wanted to announce that this year we have our Trailblazer Awards. Every year we have a different theme. This year is economic development, and we have nominated the town board of the town of Carmel for a economic leadership award due to the distillery opening, which is very exciting, and also the purchase of Swan Cove and the potential revitalization and beautification of downtown Mahopac. I can't say Mahopac, sorry. So I know I sent it to a few of you. I know you have so much going on, but you should pay attention to the good news too, because we're trying to help. We're trying to support you guys.
I'll be there to accept it on behalf of the town board.
Awesome. So that's assuming that you get voted in by the board.
Is it a free meal?
Just the nomination is honorable.
I'm charging Kenny twice.
Didn't you read the email? Buy the ticket.
No, you have it in there, bud.
No,
It's okay.
you get one ticket, but Kenny can't use it.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you.
Oh, thanks,
Thank
Jen.
you.
All right. Thanks, Sue. You want to go, Sue? All right. Anyone else
My mic's not working, but thank you very much, Jen.
Thanks, Jen. Is Chris Moore going to be there?
Hi, Emily Bacardi again. I actually had a question. Have you guys, or do you guys have any rules governing the conduct and ordinance of how these meetings are to be held in terms of individuals that are watching? I'm guessing that's a no. I'm wondering if you guys have considered putting forth
Yeah,
to make sure that they are continue to be conducted in an orderly manner. I'm not saying to refrain people from speaking. That would be against the law.
No,
I'm referring to maybe no flash photography.
There is Robert's rules.
Flash photography is not allowed?
No.
That's not just
It's Paul-
order.
Yeah.
I didn't say take pictures. I said flash photography. I'm just asking.
No, he's talking about public.
As far as I know, it's Robert's
It's
Rules of
Robert's
Order,
rules.
and we're.
Sorry, I can't hear when
Sorry.
there's multiple people
It's,
talking.
we're governed by Robert's Rules of Orders, but I think in regards to what you're looking at is, we do have public comment sections that are supposed to be limited to 3 minutes. Today, prior to the meeting, we actually had a police officer who spoke in regards to what we feel should be the appropriate conduct, but I think, given recent circumstances, I think we're probably gonna be looking at some general guidelines that maybe we should be.
Well, 2 weeks ago, I actually, at the beginning of the meeting, was it last week?
I just think
Yeah,
that there's been a
Yeah.
series of
Yeah.
issues in which the meetings, in which it should be a public benefit for all of us to hear, has become disruptive, and it is hindering our ability to listen and follow what you guys are doing appropriately.
Well,
And I think that's a very big detriment to the public in which you guys are supposed to be serving.
Yeah.
So I think you guys should maybe consider
Emily,
some
we
things.
spoke last week, or I spoke last week about appropriate conduct.
Yes.
About
And recording.
appropriate conduct and behavior during town board meetings. And, you know, I had said that that goes for everybody in the room, including this town board
course.
and the general public. But we talked about that, and I think I got my point across pretty good.
Okay.
With respect to, you know, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, disorderly behavior that's
Well, and that they
perhaps
address
may
the
not be
town
disorderly.
board.
How you have to dress the
Not the
town board and
audience.
not the audience, not
Or
the public
camera.
that's here. So we did talk about that last week, but this, Robert's Rules is what governs the town board.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might be talking about parliamentary procedures.
I just want to make sure that when I'm either watching it at home or here, that I don't hear background noise that is stopping me from, thank you, from being able to listen to what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
I also would, you know what, I'll save that for a non-comment, since I'm definitely being recorded.
All right. Thanks, Emily.
I absolutely agree with that, and no offense up here, but there are times I'm reading the resolution, I hear you guys chatting, and Mike, I don't know how you do it, because I'm sure with that hearing aid, you're amplified what everybody's saying back here, but it's tough for me to concentrate on it.
It's just respect.
I'll be honest with you, John, when I don't want to hear it, I lower my hearing aids.
I wish I had that ability.
I can lower them quite a
Actually, I shouldn't wish for that so soon.
All right. Anybody else here for new business? Come on up. Yes, sir.
Evening. Thank you, Supervisor Smith. My name is Charles DiMaggio. I live at 214 Beach Drive here in Mahopac, and I'm glad to hear the council and the town board here start to speak about the lack of water in some of our waterways. And what I didn't hear and would like to bring to your attention is the substantial drop in water at Lake McGregor. Concerns that the residents of that lake association have, and those that border the lake, about the pumping that's going on to water the new fields. We all understand the investment, and it's my tax dollars that are doing the fields, we get the need, but I have a concern in anything that looks like a permanent fix, be pumping from Lake McGregor. We're down over a foot on my property line, and things that I like to hear under consideration include, there's a spillway at the end of the lake, obviously, and that spillway, I'm told by longer-time residents, I'm only here for 4 years, that there once was an ability to maneuver that spillway to keep water back into the lake. So if we're thinking about using water on Lake McGregor, and why shouldn't we capture that water? We are losing water through the spillway all summer long, and on the earlier talks, we had heard that any attempt to take water from that spillway, and it's part, I think, of the reservoir system, would come post the dam, which makes total sense, it's lost water. But then I heard DEP concerned about that water. We had to close the beach once this year. You know, Lake McGregor, with all due respect to the lake I live on, is barely a pond. And when you get to one end of that lake, it's barely a half a foot deep. And you've looked back now, that shoreline's moved quite a bit on the natural drop before you started to pump the water. which I hear is anywhere between 25,000 and 100,000 gallons a day. Again, I'm not denying the need to have the water up in the fields. I'm asking what we've done to make sure that we don't damage the lake and the property values of those that live along that home. And the first thing I would like to understand is, was there that spillway damage done years ago that was never corrected? I'm told by older residents of the area that the original developer would actually manipulate that spillway to bring the lake up during the summertime and drop it during the wintertime, and that it collapsed inside to the spillway, and the town has not repaired it. Don't know if that's just rumor. I'm not confident enough to go in there, but I know we have engineers and departments that can check on that. But it certainly sounds logical to me that when you look at that spillway, and I would like to know if that's a potential for something to be done. I also heard there's other alternatives than the pumping at the lake, but mostly concerned with the biology of the lake. And I understand that there have been consultants on there, and those are engineering consultants, not a biologist. So when you bring my lake down by over a foot now during this drought period, I want to know what's going on with the biology of the lake. We were told in earlier conversations that any pumping would be done by an electrical pump. What's been installed directly across a very noisy diesel engine that's pumping with a permanent PVC pipe. It's not what was told from us from prior meetings, and it starts to really wonder if you're looking at what you're doing other than watering the fields. Again, I understand the situation you're in. It's our investment too, but in terms of a permanent solution, it doesn't look like the proper one. I'm also concerned too that I understand that you're legally allowed to take up to 100,000 gallons pursuant to state law if there's no potential damage to the lake. It would appear to me this decision to pump probably triggers CEQA, and there should have been a phase 1 evaluation done for that CEQA, and I'd like to know if that's been evaluated. Again, not for this temporary, and I saw there's a permit issued by the county, but any future use of that water should really be subject to CEQA review, because there is potential damage to the lake. I'm really just concerned, and I hear, watching, this is my first meeting to attend, and I'm a representative of the Assistant Board of Estimate down at New York City, so I understand how hard it is to run these town meetings. But when I hear there's emails that people don't get, you might not have full reports in front of you, I'm concerned that you don't know what the conditions are on the lake. There's a lot to do up here. So here, on behalf of my neighbors, I'm here saying we got a foot drop there and pumping of water going on. And we're not here to be blind to the fact that we have those fields to help you with. We just want to hear what you're doing to evaluate what decisions are being made before you pump that water, before you ruin our property values in an attempt to keep fields that need to be watered. Again, understand the need, but want to know what you're doing to evaluate what you're doing when you pump 25,000 to 100,000 gallons of water in a lake that's already down by a foot. So I know it's a big task, and I want to thank you for your time tonight.
Could I just address and ask you a couple
John.
questions? Because you mentioned that it was previously reported that there would be electric pump. I don't know if you spoke to the rec department. Usually I came to all of your meetings and gave you an update. The electrical pump would be if that was a permanent solution. Last week at the House, the reason why I left last week's meeting, I said that they would use a diesel pump because they haven't set up an electrical pump because it's a temporary basis. They're not going to bring in an electric pump on a temporary basis, just for clarification. And last week you mentioned that Summit residents said it was down 3 to 4 inches. You said about 5 or 6. So in one week it has gone down another 6
No, we measured
inches?
tonight. I measured tonight with the Brady residents. I measured my own dock, and I went down the other end before. I was going to take pictures, and I really didn't know the form here, but it's. I welcome you to come.
No, I'm just
I know you.
asking.
First of all, I
I
want
know
to
them
thank you
all
for
well.
briefing us. You've been more than transparent and a fantastic source of information. And I don't think anyone in town here is intentionally trying to hide it. I'm just making sure you hear what it is. I was, and there are residents here. I conservatively say it's down a foot. It could be more. And I am not blaming that on the pumping. It's down, and it's probably over the drought. But what I am wondering is why we can't fix that spillway at the end, and you can bring it up 6 more inches and take that water for the fields. I'm not saying, that's.
And we could look into it, because last week when I mentioned to you, I was born and raised there for since I was 4 years old, 47 years. I didn't realize that you could adjust that spillway. I heard old-fashioned way using wood, but then Putnam County during a meeting, and Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, Putnam County said there is a way to mechanically control the level using the spillway. So that is absolutely something that we could go back to the engineer and go back to the county and take a look at. Absolutely, we should definitely do that.
Otherwise, it's just lost water anyway, right?
Correct, 100% correct.
Right. And I want to thank you for meeting with us last week. It's an important source of information. It eliminates rumors when you have a direct contact like that. So I appreciate the town planning board looking into it.
Okay, Charlie, thank you.
Thank you, and it's definitely being closely monitored.
Yeah.
There's,
Yeah, right now, they've actually put leveling devices in the lake, and they're monitoring it on a daily basis. If it's up or down, they're actually recording it since they started the pump Friday, Jimmy? Or Saturday? Okay.
I assure you, I asked you guys to check.
Charlie.
That lake won't come up
No, that's a couple storms. Down a foot is a couple
So,
storms.
so,
Correct. Correct.
Right.
so guys, this, Jimmy, wait, so, wait,
On the mic,
Charlie,
sorry.
yeah, because this is something that Emily was
Yeah,
just
no, thank
alluding
you.
to. We can't hear that, we can hear, they can't hear.
Fair enough. So one of the things I also would like to add as a final thing to look at, and I'm bringing concerns that my neighbors had raised to me, is that if the water is lowered on an earthen dam, will there be damage to the top part of the dam? Because it's an earthen dam, and what happens when it starts to dry out? And that was raised to me. I'm not an engineer. You and I discussed whether we need a biologist or an engineer. That one, we might need an engineer. But that was one of the concerns raised, that if we start to drop the water level and not pay attention to that, will that earthen dam start to dry out and have damage? Again, going back to probably the most important thing, which is can we adjust that
Regulate.
and hold water back, which is what the dam's there for the first place, right?
We'll
Thank you very
definitely
much.
look into that. Charlie, thank you. Is there anyone else? Charlie?
Charlie Melchner. I want to echo what Susie said before about signage. Has anybody seen the signs the state or the county put up on the crosswalks on Route 6N in the
Yeah.
center of town?
We saw those, yeah,
What a disgrace.
yeah.
Yeah,
What a disgrace.
we're trying to make this place beautiful, and
And they,
I,
overkill with signs, definitely too many. I saw that, it's a state.
can I get a motion? I can cut them down tonight or anything like that?
I was gonna say, where's legal counsel? Can I ask him if I second?
Thank you very much.
All right, Charlie, thank you. Did you mention something about signs?
Yeah.
When? Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, is there, sir, did you want to come up?
Yes, hello, I'm Charlie Schultz, and again, I'm also a member of Lake McGregor. Talking about the diesel pump, concerns the neighbors have is the diesel pump is actually about 10 feet away from the lake. We're concerned, again, with the low level of the lake. Any spillage of diesel, would absolutely ruin the lake. And I appreciate the town's investment in the fields, but if you use the town's estimate of the assessed value of a home of, $410,900, there's 125, families in that area, part of the association. So that's over $50 million worth of property value, which the lake adds a considerable portion to it. So again, I'm not sure who chose to put a diesel engine that close to a lake that does feed, New York City drinking water. But I'd, like to ask the rec department or the council to, again, rethink the positioning of that engine.
Yeah, at least some kind of spill control that might be underneath or something that could be done just in case there is, God forbid, some kind of spill.
Anyone who's ever filled a lawnmower with gasoline knows that, there's going to be a spillage.
Definitely something to look into.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could, Jimmy, please,
Yeah,
thank you.
Please do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take that mic.
The fuel tank is located within the unit, which is a generator and a pump. It's all encapsulated in a sound barrier box. I've been told that the fuel would need to be filled about once a week if it operated every day. So at this point, the refilling is going to be minimal over the next couple weeks. We're looking at the forecast of some rain tomorrow. Next week, we're looking at about 3 days of rain. So obviously, when it's raining, we won't be pumping the water. But what I will address with the contractor is when they refill the machine, what they're using for any kind of spill protection. They've got those the blow-up devices that they can put around the unit. We've got hay bales around the unit, and we have sound deadening curtains that are above the unit. I sent you guys some photos that were taken later on this afternoon. So at least, we're trying to keep the sound down. The unit, the pumping unit that we have is designed to keep low, a low sound coming out of it, where the first proposal would have a generating unit that would provide electricity down to a pump that was closer. But that, we had electrical lines that was an issue, and then that generator was substantially louder. So our engineers made a last-minute decision with the contractor to change up that pumping solution. So today was the first real day that they did an active pump for about an hour and a half or so. So, we will be over the next, we started a week, about 5 days ago, so we have about 35 days left of watering. So we'll be
Jimmy,
watching all the way through.
Jimmy, check with the contractor, see if he can put a containment boom around the unit.
Yes,
Like an
yep.
absorption boom. He can pick one of those up. Probably only needs about 25, 30 feet of it
Yep.
to go around the
We'll
unit.
get that taken care of.
See if you can do that, all right, to protect
And
the lake.
where
Gentleman
that's
brings up
put,
a good
it's a
point.
relatively flat area, so we can,
Yeah,
and it's cleared around there, so we'll definitely get that installed.
just an added protection in the event that there is a spill.
So, okay.
All right, thanks, Jim.
You got it, okay.
Is there anyone else that would like to come up and speak for the new business? Come on up at this time. Okay, there being none, I just have two quick announcements to make. We mentioned this last week, and we'll continue to mention these until the two events that we have. There's a Shred It Day, so if you have documents that you would like to shred, have shredded October 12th, 2019. It's at the Michael Geary Inline Memorial Rink across from the Mahopac Fire Department. You could bring up to 3 legal-sized boxes of documents that you can shred at that location. So they'll be available there 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on October 12th. So October 12th, if you have documents, legal documents you'd like to get disposed of, bring them over there and you can dispose of them. This is a Town of Carmel sponsored event, no cost to the residents. Next one is the e-waste drop-off date is November 2nd. Same location, the Michael Geary Inline Roller Rink. That's from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's right across from the Mahopac Fire Department for Town of Carmel residents only. And please provide proof of residency. That seems to be a very popular event, e-waste, electronic waste. A lot of folks hang on to their e-waste and because they don't know how to dispose of it. So we're offering this again. We did it in June of this year. We're offering it again November. So Saturday, November 2nd, e-waste drop-off day, Michael Geary Rink, across from the Mahopac Firehouse, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Bring your e-waste that you have to that location. You can dispose of it free of charge. Must be a Town of Carmel resident.
And don't forget the Columbus Day Parade is this Sunday, and the
Street fair
the
starts at 10 a.m.
street fair starts at 10 a.m.
10 a.m., I think?
I think.
11
11 a.m.?
11 a.m.
Yeah.
The ribbon cutting's at 11 a.m.
I just want everyone to get there early.
Parade's at, the
Shop
parade-
local.
Parade's at 2. Lineup is right up here at Lake Cassie Road, and they march in reverse of the,
Towards town.
they march towards town. It ends at the Chamber Park. So that's this Sunday, 2 p.m. The street fair, street festival, which is another nice thing to come to, starts at 11 a.m. Route 6 will be closed that day. All the vendors are going to be set up. It's really nice. Hopefully the weather's going to be nice, which I think it's going to be. It's a great day for people to do something, so. That's all I have.
Whoa, no, Friday night, Mahopac High School is putting on a football game.
yeah.
So if you have an opportunity to get out there, it's going to be for first responders, it's going to be for
Military veterans.
military
both retired
veterans.
and active.
I think that you even arranged for a very special
Helicopter.
flyover.
Yeah, I did.
Thank you so much for arranging
You're
that.
welcome. Yeah.
It should be a
I
really
did
good
full
event.
suit
There's going to be a
drinks
lot of color guards, and it should be a nice turnout. So
Yeah.
hopefully a lot of community support for it. It's one of the great things that our community does is turn out for events like that.
Yeah.
So thank you for
Thank you, John.
arranging that. Thank you.
Yeah, Westchester County PD is bringing a helicopter to town on Friday evening. They're going to do a slow flyover of the field at the varsity football game at Mahopac High School. They're actually retiring Michael Kozlowski's jersey. He was a Mahopac student, played football for Mahopac. He was tragically killed up in Alaska in February of this year in an accident in a shipyard. So Michael Kozlowski, his jersey's going to be retired, number 62. Friday evening as well. So a lot going on Friday evening at Mahopac High School. I think the ceremony starts at 6:30, and the flyover is going to be around 6:50. Football game starts at 7. So it'll be a nice event. All right, anybody else have anything else? Okay, I need a motion to close the meeting. So moved by Councilman McDonough, second by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good night, everyone. We'll be back here next Wednesday for Town Board Work Session. Good night, be well.